that irritates me about YouTube.
All right.
It's like you can't do
Hey, Zay, just write your question down. Emily, just write your question down.
Yeah.
If I have time at the end, I'll cover it. And again, some of your questions I'm just going to defer to the end. To another day, because a lot of this we'll be talking about. Now, the idea of relativity was the first thing that we need to introduce today. The next thing we need to introduce is Einstein's view of space, of four-dimensional space. All right, we're used to our normal three dimensions, which we got forward and back. Right? If I was a one-dimensional creature, I would be on a computer. I'd be a dot on a computer screen that just moved forward and back. Now, the next dimension is left and right. So I'm not confined to just forward and back. I can turn. I go to the next one. Now watch this. I'm going to take an interdimensional leap.
Interdimensional.
And yes, the pun is intended. Ready? I just jumped out of the second dimensional plane into the third dimension. Albeit not very long, but I was in the third dimension.
How do you get to the 11th dimension?
Well, that's a little bit more difficult. That dimensional jump is not quite as easy.
Set yourself on fire.
And then sacrifice yourself.
This is on video. I can't answer. Because I could possibly sue if you actually did that. So no, I do not condone setting yourself on fire in any way. I'm officially on the record. All right, so you got forward and back, left and right, up and down. That makes up what we call space, three dimensionals. There's a fourth dimension that we need to take into account, which is we're moving right now. You're all sitting there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right now, you're moving through the fourth dimension. Time. Yes. You haven't stopped.
Yeah, grip.
You have not stopped. Even while you're sitting there, like a slug, playing your Xbox. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Your fingers are like this or whatever.
But you're physically engaged in
But-
your mind.
But you're actually moving. You can actually make an argument to your parents. They're like, you haven't moved in days. So Christopher, you haven't moved in days. I have, Mom. I'm moving through time. There you go. See how that works out for you.
So you use your physics when you're
She said that you haven't moved in 3 hours.
Go do something else.
Yeah.
All right. Now, when we measure events, Dan, you might just want to write your question down.
Okay.
I want to get through the lecture, and then if I have time, I'll take questions.
We always
When-
talk.
You're talking about your direction, you need to take into account all the events and when they occur. Okay, so for example, my apartment address. So I lived at 555 North Generic Lane, apartment 311, June through August 2006. Now that just took into account all four dimensions because you got your intersection, you got your street, got your house number, you got 300 levels, so you knew how high you are, and then it gives you a date. Gives you a date. All right, so we got to again consider those things like that. All right, now time is an incredibly important dimension. If we didn't have time, everything in nature that's ever happened would all occur in one infinitesimally small blip. From the moment you were born to the moment you die, everything just happened at once.
What if we are in this blip right now, and then you just perceive it as very, very, very slow?
I don't.
We are in that blip right now, Zay.
I don't know how to feel about this class.
We're in a blip.
I don't think mine can handle it.
All the point is though, is to say, all the point I'm making is that time matters.
But if
Time matters. All I'm saying is that within the fabric of our movement, woven within our movement is time. They're all linked. All right, you can't have space without time.
How did we figure
You
out?
can't have
Yeah.
time
Okay.
without space.
How did we figure out time?
Time.
The sun?
I feel like some caveman. How did we figure out what time?
All right.
By the sun.
Time.
That is a terrible answer.
Time is based on cycles.
Right.
Okay? So how we measure our time is based on our movement around the sun and our movement around our own axis. Okay? And that's how we, because it's cycles, something that's repeatable. Anything that's repeatable we can use to measure time. For humans, our heartbeat is about, basically is our clock. Okay? So I've told you why YouTube freaks me out, right?
Yeah.
Right? You're starting, because every time I look at the ticker thing, right? Here's the end. This is the way my life is. Every time my heart beats, this thing moves just a little bit closer. Except I don't know where the end is, and that's kind of scary. Not only is there that, our whole Earth has a YouTube time ticker.
So you have a fear.
Our
of the
sun has a YouTube time ticker.
You're terrified you're gonna get like the low, like the stop and load, where you just, where you have to like refresh. You buffer.
You're in a coma.
You're buffering.
All right.
Physics is scary.
I feel like Brandon's gonna be like really
All right. Einstein had two questions that he asked, that he proposed. Now, again, these questions are important. They actually go into philosophy or religion. Okay? Now, I'm just going to make a disclaimer right away. Is I'm not trying to convince you one way or the other whether you should believe in God or not believe in God. I believe that's not a testable type of thing. Okay? Because one way or the other, it still takes faith. If you believe in God or not, it still takes faith. You have to believe one way or the other, or not at all. You can actually go in the middle. That's fine. I'm not trying to convince you one way or the other. In our politically correct curriculum, we vanilla everything and we take out all the fun. Okay? Because there's two things in the world that make people angriest the most. It's politics and religion.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. So, if you have a major problem with something I say, just come talk to me after class, okay? And I'll be more than glad before or after school to talk about any of your personal views or my personal views or things like that. In the class setting though, in front of everybody, I'm not going to go in depth on those. But I am going to present other people's ideas and what they believe and how it shaped how we get these things right here. So don't be offended by that. Or if you are, just come talk to me. It's okay. It's not a big deal. All right. So he asked two questions, which aren't necessarily answerable by science, but definitely shape this. And that is, was there space before the universe came into being? In other words, was there places you could move around? Okay. And was there time before the universe? In other words, was there always a clock ticking somewhere? In other words, was time continually moving? Some point.
It's gonna hurt my head.
This is
This is what he said. This is what he said. Space and time only exist within the construct of each other. Which makes up our universe. Space and time are both part of that construct. If you don't have space, you don't have time. If you don't have time, you don't have space. Okay? Now, this is different than the worldview at the time.